I'm sorry that I bother you a question. I know I never learned from my lesson, but I need someone to help me out that I can trust. And I know I'm always asking for direction to improve what I see in my reflection. But the eyes of those who judge, cold like winter's touch, they don't get why I'm talking to the wall.
Hello, all. Welcome. My name is Zain Sattar, and this is the Zain Lives Podcast, the podcast where I live and I share my life and my stories and my opinions. And, you'll probably disagree with a lot of them, but I'm going to share them anyway because this is Zain Lives. Very strange name. Please don't ask me why I named it. I put a lot of thought into this. I didn't put any thought into this. Um, there's no real reason behind it, but it is what it is. And we're going to stick to it. Okay? All right. I hope you all are well. I hope you all are staying safe, especially considering we are currently living through history, COVID-19 pandemic things. You know how it is. I'm going to dive right into it, into the thing I want to talk about today. My first ever podcast, which may or may not have been recorded several times already. All right. Okay. So, on today's episode of the world's most average podcast, I wanted to discuss why we as human beings, and I'm going to just say this now, not everyone faces this challenge, but I feel like there are some, or maybe even a lot of people who do, but why we as human beings find it difficult to start something new. And I feel this is super appropriate considering this is the first ever episode of my podcast. And it's something that I have struggled to start because, well, we'll get right into it. I want to discuss this because I want you to understand why you're not just being lazy, all right? Why you aren't alone in all of this, and hopefully motivate you to do something about it. For example, I want to motivate myself because I'm going to listen back to this podcast. I'm going to motivate myself to start learning French. Or hopefully this video will go out, so I'll have motivated myself to release an episode and stop being so damn self-conscious. Conscious. It's already begun. All right. So, I also feel this is super appropriate considering right now we're in lockdown and a lot of you may have spare time on your hands right now. Um, considering a lot of people have been put in lockdown, so they aren't really allowed to leave their house. This is a good time for you to, you know, do something with yourself. Now, that might sound like an attack, but it's not. I swear it's not. Um, it's just don't regret the time you have. All right? You need to remember we are in a pandemic. This isn't, your summer holidays where uh you should be productive. Like, don't feel you have to be. It's very understandable if you just want to kind of lounge around and kind of get through this because mentally I've been struggling with it too. Okay, living in a pandemic is not easy. Um, luckily we're blessed. I think if you're watching this, you have internet, you have a roof over your head, you have your family with you. Um, there are blessings out of this, but anyway, I'm rambling. I digress. Let's get back to it. So let's try and make the most of COVID-19. Let's jump right into it. So why do you struggle with something new, with starting something new? So number one, in my opinion, anxiety. This is something that I've personally dealt with, and it's very difficult to manage. It's this giant wall you build up, that is between you and your goals. It's it can be really bad, right? And if you're if you're like me in any way, you're gonna ignore it, and you're gonna distract yourself, and you're gonna end up watching a lot of Netflix, and you're gonna realize that it hasn't really helped. It's just kind of postponed the anxiety. Um, Now that's my personal kind of take on it. Maybe yours is different. But I find that anxiety really stops me from doing stuff because I have this difficulty with leaving my comfort zone, you know? If something isn't familiar, if something isn't what I'm used to, then it causes me to have a little bit of anxiety. And the whole idea of starting something new comes from you leaving your comfort zone and doing something unfamiliar, right? So that's the first reason. Anxiety probably is one of your reasons you don't start something new. Second thing is failure. Failure in the sense that you don't want to fail, right? No one wants to fail. No one ever wants to start something with the idea that they're not going to be able to finish it, or at least, give it their best. Um, I have been scared of trying and not succeeding, especially with this podcast, with my business, with my music. I felt this, so it's hashtag relatable. I'm with you. I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to let anyone else down. And I don't want to be put in a position where I've put so much effort into something and gotten no result out of it. I I'm scared with this podcast. I'm scared that I am going to put out an episode and it's going to tank and I'll never do another one again. And people will have seen that I did one and they'll also see that I didn't do another. I, I'm I'm scared of that. And I know that's up to me really and I shouldn't really think about what other people say, but sometimes you can't help it, right? If I'm putting out a podcast, and let's be realistic here for a second. If I'm putting out a podcast, then I want people to hear what I have to say. And I would like to hear what they have to say as well. I'd love feedback. Um, there's a fine line between you not caring about what other people have to say and you not taking to heart what other people have to say, right? It's a real fine line, but it's there. And I am a little bit worried about that. I'm worried about judgment, which would be my third reason as to why you find it difficult to start something new. Because I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be being made fun of, right? I don't want to be the center of attention for the wrong reason. And, maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking, like, damn, I feel that. I feel that. And, it's perfectly fine. Like, judgment and failure are probably the biggest reasons I've been putting off this podcast for so long. Because, well, like I said earlier, I don't want to be judged and I don't want to be failed. Failed? I don't want to be failed? Oh my God. I don't want to fail. I I think what has kind of changed my mind about all of this is failure and judgment are very, or maybe not judgment, but failure is very key to success. You're not gonna improve on anything. You're not gonna become better or the best at anything unless you fail and unless you like keep learning from your mistakes, right? And as for judgment, I had to kind of just realize that there are gonna be haters out there because haters gonna hate, but there are also gonna be a lot of people who look at what I have to say and who will give their honest feedback and their constructive criticism, right? It doesn't just have to be about what I'm saying, it could be about the quality. It could be about, maybe this light sucks, or maybe my camera sucks, or maybe my audio sucks, which, by the way, were also reasons that, you know, I wasn't starting this podcast, but I'll get to that. I I didn't want to be judged. I needed it to be perfect, right? Um, but it won't be perfect the first time around. Nothing you do for the first time will be perfect the first time. That is the inherent, what's the word? That is the inherent truth about starting something new. That practice will make perfect. So the more you do it, the better you'll get, right? You might be fearful, right? Fearful will be number 4 on my list of why you can't start something new. You might, be scared of the judgment. You might be scared of the failure. You might be scared of what people will say, but you might be scared that nothing will go how you plan. Like this podcast, for example, I'd mentioned this earlier. It had to be perfect, but it can't. I had to have the best lighting. I had to have the best audio. I had to have the best camera, which, by the way, none of these things are the best. I've been putting it off because I had to make it entertaining. I had to make it worth people's time, and excuse me. That's just simply not how it was gonna go. I I tried starting a podcast with my friends, like 2 sets of friends, three sets of friends, and it just didn't happen because, well, this is the thing I wanted to do, and I couldn't, and I shouldn't rely on anyone else to help me with my goals like that, because I have to put the effort in myself. I have to realize that I will make mistakes, and that's okay. Like, I am a human being who is starting something new. And maybe what I'm saying is starting to sound super repetitive, but we're going to roll with it. I don't want to edit this video at all. Um I'll tell you a little bit of a story, right? I used to vlog a long time ago, and I loved it. I absolutely adored it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great way to archive my life and for me to be able to look back at in the future. And towards the end, I feel like, by the way, there was an end, but towards the end, I feel like I was pretty decent at recording and editing and telling a story and being somewhat like entertaining. Um, but there was an end. There was a start, right? And at the start, I sucked. I absolutely sucked. My editing was bad. I didn't really know what to do that was entertaining or not. Um, my camera was okay, but I wasn't using it to its full potential. I, at the start, made 100 vlogs in 100 days. And, you know, you would think after the 20th day I would be a little bit better, but no, 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 I wasn't. I sucked. All 100 vlogs sucked. They were not good. Excuse me, I need a sip of coffee. A little bit of ASMR for anyone who's into that. But yeah, they sucked. Uh, and that just shows like practice makes perfect. Because by the time we got to like my 400th vlog, and yes, I have made over 400 vlogs, I was much, much better. If you put my first video and my 400th video side by side, you would see a definite improvement. You kind of figure out what, you kind of figure out how to deal with it. You figure out which direction you want to go. You figure out how much you enjoy or don't enjoy it, right? This may be true if you're learning a new language. For example, I started, I want to learn French, so I started to, take steps towards learning it. For example, I downloaded an app and now I use that app every day. And, just 15 minutes on that app will start building up my vocabulary and my abilities, right? And I'll figure out in about 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever, if I actually want to learn French or not. Um, the same thing could be with like juggling, right? You could start it. Um, some people might be better than others. It's all about hand-eye coordination, and you'll figure out at some point whether you want to continue doing it or not. And it's just all about starting, right? If you want to learn origami, then open up a YouTube video and find out how to do it and just start. And eventually, maybe you'll make like a 16-foot long dragon, if that's a thing. I don't know. I just made that up. But this is not me bragging about how I can do stuff if I practice at it, because that's true for everyone. But what I do want to say is starting something new could change your life. This will sound super weird, but I can draw a very interesting line. It's not gonna be a straight line. It's gonna be like a wiggly waggly line. But I can draw a line from me starting vlogging to me now being in a place where I make music and I own a business, and well, now this um for a living, right? Uh like I own a business and it's something that I love. It's something like my business, it's called Ziab. This is a side note, so you can, skip forward if you're not interested. But Ziab is a business about trying to make the world a better place. Um, and I know there's loads of people out there who are doing the same thing. But when there's a good initiative behind it, I don't think you could ever have too many. Like you could never have too many charities, for example, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. So Ziab is a passion of mine. Ziab is this baby of mine, and I can draw a line from me starting vlogs to me owning my business. Like it's weird the way life works out. So just remember that starting something new may be the difference between you living for the weekends and you being happy, right? And also like taking a chance on yourself. But if you want to be a musician for your life, then that's kind of a little bit different. But you can take stuff from this as well, right? So you can't let the fear and the judgment dictate your life. The fear of the unknown is natural. Like when you don't know about something, you don't understand something, it could be scary, right? Like I'm scared of the bottom of the ocean. What's down there? I don't know. Like I watched Finding Nemo, and if that's any indicator, then like I don't want to go down there. But maybe if I understood it better, you know, I wouldn't be as scared of it. And that could be the same with you. All right? So now that I've discussed why you can't start something and why after I've bragged about myself a little bit, which I'm sorry about, I want to maybe discuss how you can, get over your anxiety and then just start something. So first of all, you need to know what you're afraid of. Are you afraid of the failure, the judgment? Are you afraid of um I don't know, what your mom's going to say, or like are you afraid of what like your best friend's going to say? Like figure out what you're afraid of. Um and work towards conquering that fear. Okay. You also need to set goals for yourself. All right. So, me with my French, I'm not expecting to go to France anytime soon. Well, I mean, I'm in quarantine. We're all in quarantine. So, hypothetically speaking, I'm not expecting hypothetical myself. Does that sentence make sense? Well, I'm not expecting myself to go to France anytime soon and go to a restaurant and order some spaghetti or pizza or French toast. I don't know why I said spaghetti. Um, so I need to set goals and be realistic about it. Okay, you need to give something new a fair chance before you give up on it. Like, it's not fair if after a day or like after an hour of you trying to juggle, you give up on it. It's just not fair. Okay, like juggling has feelings too, right? Uh, you're gonna quickly catch on that I make lame jokes. So if you giggled, know you're lame. Um, you also need to understand that failure is okay. Failure is your friend. You fail, you try again, you fall, you get up again, you crash your car, you get a new car. It's really simple. Like, failure is like vitamin C. Everyone needs it every now and again. Okay. And you need to think about the worst case scenario. Like, it's probably not that bad. And if you're like if your imagination goes wild, then you need to write a book about whatever the worst case scenario could be. And then you need to come back to reality and realize that it's not going to be that bad. That's just the truth of it. Okay. Um, like with me and my French, and I know I keep bringing up my French because I, because well, it's my podcast and I can talk about what I want. But I remember I was a little bit scared. Like, I'm worried in general about my accent, right? So I'm a little bit scared on how people are gonna perceive my French accent. Um, because, well, let's be honest, my English accent's kind of weird too. So God knows what a French accent's gonna sound like. But yeah, so worst case scenario, for example, with this episode of the podcast, my first ever, by the way. So keep that in mind when you're leaving your judgy comments or thinking your judgy thoughts. Um, and also, where's your podcast? Uh, but worst case scenario is that my friends and family see it or strangers see it, and maybe they think it's bad or maybe they think it's okay and it needs a little bit of improvement. And what I'm going to do in that scenario is I'm simply going to do another one that's hopefully going to be better. And also, I'm going to move countries and change my name, and hopefully I'll never see any of those people ever again. It's simple. It's that simple. Okay. And my fifth tip for how to, start something new is again around failure. So if you fail, just laugh it off. It ain't that deep. All right. You were new to it. You didn't know. You gave it a go. Hopefully, you gave it your best go. And if it ain't for you, then it ain't for you. But at least you'll know you tried your best and you know, you didn't just chicken out. You didn't just kind of half ass it. Maybe you're trying to build a tower of cards. Maybe it's just not your thing. And that's okay. It's fine. It's not that deep. So, if none of the things I said about starting something new apply to you, then maybe you're just lazy and, that's okay. Like I mentioned earlier, it's fine to be lazy. I want you to know why you may not be starting something new. And if it's because you're lazy or because you just don't want to, then, don't let peer pressure get in your way. Live your life. More power to you. Just make sure that you don't regret not utilizing the time you had. All right. I see a lot of people posting about, like, oh, if you don't start your side hustle now, you never will. Well, goddamn, we're living in COVID-19 times, okay? Pandemics aren't easy. I've gone through it too. I'm still excuse me, I'm still going through it. Okay? Living in a pandemic is scary. Like, what's going to happen next week? I don't know. But, we're all in this together. It's going to be fine. All right. We'll all be fine. We're all there for each other. If you personally have made it this far into this video, first of all, thank you so much. I love you. Like, really. I really love you. Second of all, DM me and like DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is Zain Sattar 97. Um, let's talk. Let's discuss it. Only if you want to. If you're struggling with this pandemic, then let's talk about it. If you don't know how to start the thing you want to start, then let's talk about it. If you think I'm an idiot, then let's talk about it. I know that with this podcast, I want to bring people together and I want to build a community. The same thing with my business. It's called Ziab, by the way, at Ziab, ZIIAB, self plug. Uh, oh, by the way, this t-shirt's a Ziab t-shirt. So, like, if you want to order one and you live in the UAE, then like DM at Ziab or me. It's fine. But yeah, like, let's talk. I'd love to get to know you and talk to you and hopefully make a friend. And if that sounds cheesy to you, then you're not one person. You're not a person I want to be friends with. Or maybe you are. I don't know. I don't judge, right? Once we get to know each other, then we can judge. But yeah. Thank you all for sitting with me for like 25 plus minutes. I really appreciate it. I know my voice isn't the nicest to listen to, but hopefully uh, with practice, it might sound better and it won't sound so weird. So, yeah. I will see you guys on the next episode. Fingers crossed there will be a next episode. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Zain Lives. Because hopefully I'll still be living. Oof, maybe that was a dark joke to make right now. Anyway. Thank you all. Goodbye. Peace.
I'm sorry that I bother you a question. I know I never learned from my lesson, but I need someone to help me out that I can trust. And I know I'm always asking for direction to improve what I see in my reflection. But the eyes of those that judge, cold like winter's touch, they don't get why I'm tied to the wall.